Good morning. This is the JP Dinnell podcast, and I am JP Dinnell, and I have Lucas with me, and this is one of our YouTube exclusives. So we appreciate you guys joining us randomly throughout the week. We appreciate you all for subscribing to YouTube so you get notified when these episodes come out. We've been having some decent feedback on these episodes that come out every Friday, and then also on these Q&A. Would you call these episodes too, or just segments, sessions?
Sessions. I'd say sessions. Yeah.
YouTube Q&A sessions. So we just want to jump into it after, of course, we thank you for all the support. It's been really cool to see the YouTube community growing, and the numbers you send me, I don't know. To me, it's pretty incredible to see.
It's
what
cool
God's
seeing
doing.
the same people's names pop up every week.
I feel like I know these people.
Yeah. We have an exclusive copy of one of our listeners who is working on his manuscript. We just got sent his manuscript for us to review, which is a pretty cool thing. So I'm pretty stoked about just a lot of the stuff that not just seeing like the impact that we're having, the community is being built, but like seeing that the folks who have listened to our show, listened to Jocko's show, like the stuff that they're doing and getting to be a part of it's pretty fun.
It's cool. People out there just getting after it in life. So,
bro, it's a whole new world. Don't you dare close your eyes.
All right. So sometimes. All right. One of the things I want to kick off to talk about is somebody was asking, like, is there a wrong way to take ownership?
Ooh.
And the answer is yes. And a wrong way to take ownership is to say, this is my fault, and to do nothing about it. Because people will do that. They'll be like, hey, you know what? I'm sorry. Hey, that's my fault. My fault. Because they know that they should take ownership, or they feel like they should be taking ownership, but they're doing it just to do it, to hopefully let it pass, let it move on, and then not actually have to address it. So just something for us to think about, like, if something happens and something goes wrong with you, your team, your family, and you're trying to take ownership, you also have to be very mindful of what are you going to do to solve that problem.
Yeah.
Just saying, hey, that's my bad, my fault, that's not actually taking ownership.
That's like kind of the old marital advice that's given to men. Is like, oh, you know what, the best things I can, or the best piece of advice I can give you is to say yes, dear, and that everything's your fault. Like, it's a tongue-in-cheek thing, but it's also the way that it's presented is very much like, oh, everything's going to be your fault and there's nothing you can do about it. So just say, I'm sorry, and move on, instead of have the conversation, fix it, take ownership of it. But it does seem like that applies in so many other areas of our life outside of our relationships. Yeah.
So that's the thing with, okay, how do I take ownership? What should I be taking ownership? Or, people get hung up on the whole, like, well, how do I really take ownership when something bad happens to me? Mm-hmm. So it's understanding that this is a mindset that you're trying to emulate and live all the time. And one of the ways to take ownership is like, okay, well, how do I solve this problem? So somebody T-bones me. Can I actually take ownership over that? Now the false ownership is, well, if I would have left my house 5 minutes earlier, this wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
You're not actually taking ownership over it. What we have to do is like, okay, be realistic and say, what can I take ownership over? I've been T-boned. What can I take ownership over? Well, right away, initially, my attitude.
Right.
Take ownership over controlling my attitude. And now I'm going to take ownership over, okay, what do I need to do to fix this problem? One, I need to have a conversation with the person that T-boned me. I need to have a conversation in a rational manner so that I don't make things worse. That's going to be difficult.
Big call,
I know. That's a hard thing to do. Okay, cool.
Yep.
So I have to take ownership over having the conversation to get information from this person. I need to do what next? Oh, I need to take pictures of the accident, maybe do a walk around video. I need to assess and say, okay, can I move the vehicle to a safe location? Because if I stay where I'm at in the middle of an intersection or in the slow lane of traffic, what's the probability now? Another accident.
Yeah.
So I need to be thinking to move my vehicle. Well, in order for me to think to do all these things, that requires me to detach from my emotions. That's why if I take ownership over my attitude and I can control my attitude, it allows me to detach from my emotions faster. It allows me to think logically and realize and assess, okay, what do I need to be doing right now? I need to have a conversation. I need to check to make sure everybody in my vehicle. Okay, first, is everybody in my vehicle safe? Boom. Go to the other vehicle. Is everybody in that vehicle safe? Boom. All right, let's move these vehicles safely. And that's one of the things, like, do I take pictures right now or do I move the vehicles and take pictures?
Yeah.
And that's a hard decision that you're going to have to make based off of the accident. And okay, it's like, hey, if I can take quick pictures where I'm at in the middle of the intersection, showing that I've been T-boned, showing that I was at this point of the intersection and they came through and hit me, I'm going to take quick pictures, a walk around video, and then say, hey, let's get out of this intersection so that we don't cause more accidents. And then let's move up to this parking lot. And then I move up to that parking lot. They come up there and say, hey, man, let's exchange information right now. We exchange information. And then also doing a quick Google search. When do I have to call 911 for an accident? In Texas, they're not going to come. They're not going to file a police report unless it's over a certain amount of damage. I don't know what the number is.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So you don't have to have a police report. I've been sideswiped. I've been rear-ended over the last year and a half. I've had that happen to me, and one of them I called the police because it was a whole different situation. Yeah. But another time I got rear-ended, and this is exactly what happened. Aiden and I were driving to Jiu-Jitsu. Boom! I get rear-ended hard, and immediately I'm like, dude. I look over at Aiden. I'm like, hey, are you okay? And he said, yeah. I'm like, all right. So I get out of the vehicle. And I go to the car behind me and I walk up to him. The guy rolls down the window and he's like terrified. I'm like, hey, are you okay? He's like, yeah. I'm like, I lean into the window. I'm like, are you okay? To the other passenger. And she said, yes. I'm like, all right, cool. Hey, let's go up to the parking lot that's up on our right-hand side. And let's pull in there to exchange information and to take pictures. So that we can move and not get rear-ended by somebody else. And we're on 377, which, as you know, is it's a
super busy road.
Yeah, and it's a 2-lane, so one on each side. That's all you got.
Yeah.
And
the shoulder's not big enough to lay down in, let alone put a car into.
No, absolutely. Yeah. And the guy was like, all right, so we went there. But as I was turning around to walk back, I just took a quick picture of my truck from that perspective. It was like, cool, boom, boom. I think I took 2 pictures and then got in my truck. We went up there, we pulled over, we exchanged information. And, it's funny, when I went back to the guy was like, I can't open my door. He was stuck inside of his vehicle from hitting the back of my truck so hard. It crinkled up his car. My truck was fine.
Dude.
Literally, you couldn't really tell anything. And I was like, all right. I was like, hey, hold the handle open. Because he couldn't hold the handle open and push his door at the same time. He wasn't strong enough to do it. And so I was like, hey, hold the handle open. And I just ripped and pulled the door open because it was stuck pretty bad, in there.
Freaking man.
Yeah, dog. No, it was just, I had the leverage to do it because he was helping. I hate you, jerk. And I had taken my Mulk and Drink a Go right beforehand.
That's what you have to do whenever you get
the new Jocko Fuel testosterone was flowing through my veins.
Oh, you had, yeah, that's right. You get all that stuff in advance, so you already had it.
Must be nice.
It's got to be nice.
It is nice.
I bet it is.
Yeah.
I've taken it twice, and this shirt shrunk right after I took it. It's crazy. I didn't get any bigger, but it does decrease clothing sizes. So it's nuts. It's a little advertised fact.
Yeah.
Well, my twin Echo Charles, same problem.
Yep, same problem.
Yep.
So that's what I did is, I went through all these steps with this guy, and, we got out, we exchanged information, and it was not a big deal. This wasn't a big deal, but it was like, okay, boom, boom, boom. What can I take ownership? I can't take ownership over this guy rear-ended me, but what can I take ownership over? My attitude and getting the right proper information, and doing what I'm supposed to do, going through that checklist. And I had to be able to detach my emotions to run through all that stuff.
Yeah.
And the other thing was like immediately calling my insurance company and saying, hey, this is what happened. Here's the information. Boom, 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 boom. Nobody else is going to do that for me. That's my responsibility to go through all these things. And so it's just the understanding is like, it's up to you. You have to do the follow-up. You have to do the work. You have to provide solutions to the problems. And I know somebody just heard what I said and they're taking it the wrong way. And I want to reiterate this. This doesn't mean that you do all of the work. When I say do the work, meaning do what's necessary to get the ball rolling, to solve the problem and to correct the problem and to move on. To do what you need to do and then do what you need to do next. And at times when you're in a leadership position, guess what that work is? Thinking big picture, assessing what needs to be happening, and then empowering your junior leaders to get the work done and to solve the problems by asking them questions, by giving them information and saying, hey, Lucas, like we just had this problem happen at one of our plants. This is what's going on right now. Here's what we need to accomplish. Here's where our resources are. Here's our deadline. What do you think we should do next?
Yeah.
Hey, can you take lead on solving this problem for me? Is your team capable of X, Y, and Z? And once you have those conversations, you empower your people, then it allows you to, as a leader, to go back to be more strategic and to look at things big picture. So it's one of the things I just kind of want to talk about as we opened it up. And I know we have time for like one or two more questions, but the question was like, hey, is there a wrong way to take ownership? Absolutely. And the wrong way is just saying, hey, that's my fault, and then not doing anything.
About it. This question has come up at the Mustard, and I have a quick.
I caught what you said.
Yeah, I know. I went hard D.
Yeah.
Since we're on the YouTube exclusives, since this is our audience.
Yeah.
Leafs and Leafs isn't watching this, so
I don't know. You say that. Jocko listened to our last episode.
Leafs, if you're watching it, just shoot me a text message and a PNG of the Bruiser Arms logo.
Oh yeah.
So we had this question come up. I say we had this question. Y'all had this question come up at the muster. I was sitting next to the lovely Mrs. Mary Dinnell.
Yep.
And the question that was asked was, what are the dangers of taking ownership, and what do we do when people start to pawn off on us responsibilities because they know we're going to take ownership? And the scenario goes kind of like this is, hey, I've been setting the example about taking ownership with my peer group, but I'm in middle management. Somebody else's group is having an issue. It's causing all of us to falter. They have basically come to the understanding that, like, hey, you know what? Lucas is going to take ownership of this. Lucas will take the blame for it, so it's all right. We don't really have to do our stuff. What do you do whenever that scenario starts to play out? When you're not in really like an authority position, you're in that middle management position. How do you handle that?
And you're saying that this team is would you say they're equal to your team, and this other leader is of an equal
like
level
equal
yeah.
footing. That's
so
what the
like
scenario
peer,
sounded like.
Right?
Yeah. It's a peer level leader. Your two groups were working together on a project. His end didn't hold up their end of the bargain, but they're like, we don't have to worry about it. Lucas and his group are going to take ownership of it. That's kind of their thing. So they'll take the blame for it. We'll all be okay in the long run.
Yeah. So, one, I'm going to understand that is what their intent is.
Right.
Now you know that. So it's intel. So now you just know that that's how somebody is conducting themselves. It doesn't change me from doing what I'm doing, because at the end of the day, does the work need to get done for the organization? So cool. Guess what? We do the right things for the right reasons, and I'm going to keep doing those things.
Yeah.
And then my number one focus now is going to be building a better relationship. Because if you and I have a really good relationship, are you ever going to take advantage of me?
No.
Okay. If you and I don't have a really good relationship, and let's just say you're not a person of high morals and ethics and values,
okay,
and you had the opportunity to take advantage of me, would you?
I mean,
I know it's hard for you to say yes to this.
No. I would say that would be my MO.
Okay.
If I'm a person of low morals and we don't have a good relationship, then so you're obviously going to get the blame.
So that's what's happening. This is a relationship problem.
Yeah.
There is no cover and move because there is no relationship. Cover and move is based around relationships and an understanding of what do we need to get done to accomplish the overall mission.
Yep.
That's why we're having these problems.
That makes sense.
Yep. So last thing, and this actually ties all together.
Go figure.
And so
just like we
the
planned
thing that just the whole premise and idea of when we're having hard conversations, we need to have when we're having the hard conversations that need to be had, we have to be intentional and mindful of our words and posture. So that was more of a statement. And this was my statement in regards to a question about, hey, what do I have to be thinking about when I'm having a hard conversation? That was a question I had. Like, hey, what are some things I need to think about when having a hard conversation? And I said, well, you need to have, the conversation needs to be intentional, and you need to be mindful of your words and your posture. And so that's just more of I wanted to put that out there as a thought for all of us. Like when you're having a hard conversation with your spouse, or an important conversation, or a conversation that you know needs to be impactful with your spouse, with your kids, with a coworker, with a peer. You know, Amanda and I were having this morning with Cora. Cora's in just a unique mood, and she was tired, and you know she's all stressed out and all this stuff. And so what I did is I used the whole reflect and diminish technique on her.
Okay.
I literally reflected her attitude back towards her. And she looked at me like, what are you doing? And then I diminished it. I said, hey, Cora, when I talk like that, does it kind of seem silly? And she goes, well, yeah. And I said, well, that's the way you're talking to your mom and I. And she's like, well, that's not what I meant. And I'm like, well, it's what you were doing. And I'm bringing it to your attention.
It doesn't matter what you meant.
And your mom just brought it to your attention. And then you gave her more of an attitude. Oof. And I understand that you're tired. I also understand that you're sore and that you also don't feel good right now. And there's a lot of things going on. However, we need to be mindful of our tone, of our attitude, of the words that we use. And I, as a dad, guess what? I had to be very intentional because this is my 12-year-old daughter who's super emotional right now. And I don't think I can reiterate that enough. She's super emotional right now. And the worst thing that I could do as a dad is be super hard on her and yell at her, or, you know, now I can raise my voice to catch her attention. But if I'm like, hey, listen up, like, come on, man, that don't work.
No, it does not work.
I mean, it might work initially, but long term, that's not good. And it's going to damage the relationship with my daughter.
Yeah.
And that's not how I want to speak to my daughter. And it also sets the tone that that's acceptable for her to be spoken to that manner in the future with another man. So I also had to be mindful of, like, how do I speak to her? And Amanda and I just had this conversation the other day. I'm like, hey, I know you don't mean this, but there are times that when you're talking to girls, I'm like, good Lord. She's like, well, I don't mean that. I'm like, I know. I'm just telling you because I know you don't mean that. And Amanda's also told me there are times when I'm talking to Aiden, she's like, hey, and I'm like, well, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool, thanks. You know, and so it's cool that Amanda and I have this good relationship where we can provide each other the feedback. When Amanda provides me feedback about my tone and my posture when I'm talking to somebody else or her that could be perceived as being aggressive or rude, when she gives me that feedback, how do you think I take it? As an attack, or she's trying to help me?
That she's trying to help you.
100% she's trying to help me because we have a really good relationship.
Yeah.
And we have really good communication. And this is something that we're being intentional about and speaking with each other and to build our relationships so that we're on the same team. And so that's what when we're having conversations with people, any type of conversation, but especially like an important, serious / hard conversation, we need to be intentional with the conversation, meaning we're not letting it draw on. We're not just rambling and talking to talk. Have it lined out. Have your bullet points written down if you need to stay on point, and then be mindful of your words, of your tone, and your posture. And if we just took that thought process alone, how much improvement do you think it would bring to our just everyday lives with the people that we talk to?
Oh, likely a ton.
I would agree with you, and I think it would be a massive improvement. So something for us to think about. I know this is a shorter and sweeter little Q&A session, but like I said, we want to just be able to provide you guys value with random thoughts, random Q&A sessions, random topics that we talk about. Sometimes it might be like this one, which is like closer to the 20-minute mark, and we might have some 45-minute sessions like we've had before.
Yep.
So as always, we appreciate you guys listening, all the support that you guys give us. Also, make sure that you guys are checking out what we do at Echelon Front. That's echelonfront.com. You can follow us on social media, on all the platforms. Just type in Echelon Front, Echelon, and then Front. Our website is echelonfront.com. On Instagram, it's at Echelon Front. Also, YouTube, we're putting out a bunch of videos and content from Jocko's podcast and the different trainings and events that we have that we provide at Echelon Front. Also, you can check out Bruiser Arms. We're on Instagram there as well. Little Cattle Co., Jesus and Jiu-Jitsu, On the Path. That's the ecosystem that I am a part of, and I'm thankful for all that, as well as Origin and Jocko Fuel. And if you're checking it out, which you can see because you're on YouTube, Vortex, we appreciate all the support Vortex has given myself and my friends over the years of just outstanding optics for our rifles and pistols. So we appreciate all that support. Thank you for all of you who are listening. Thank you for those that are commenting and just sharing this podcast. It's been cool to see it grow, and we know it's because of you, the listeners. It's not because of Lucas and I. It's because of you, the listeners. That's why it's growing. So keep up the hard work. We appreciate you guys. Go out there and have an awesome day.